Hello and welcome to the February edition of the Carlisle Community Forum. My name is Jerry Lerman and I'll be your host today for what I think will be a very interesting session. I'd like to start by introducing our panel. Representing the Friends of the Carlisle Council on Aging is Jean Banyaski, the COA's Program and Outreach Coordinator, Angela Smith, the Director of the Council on Aging, David Klein, and our special guest today is Irina Stoyanovich, who's going to talk to us about acupuncture. So to start things off, well, let's go to David.
Thanks very much, Jerry. Pleasure to be here with everybody. We're going to be talking a little bit about our March and April programming. And to that end, I guess I'll start off by mentioning we just got our hard copies of our newsletter, so we'll be working on putting them together and mailing them out, and having a copy attached to the town website. And one of the things that I've been working on off and on, not just me, but others in our department, are this time of the year helping people to know what their resources are in terms of filing their taxes. So if you're an older adult, age 65 plus, in this particular case, there's a credit available called the Senior Circuit Breaker Credit from the state of Massachusetts. And it actually, once you get to understand how it works, is not that difficult to deal with. But if you're not sure how it works and want to learn, there's resources that are on the mass.gov website. You can ask us about it, or they're referenced in an article on the front page of the newsletter. Also, I think it's on page 8 of the newsletter, we have information about where you could make an appointment to go to talk to an AARP trained tax preparer. They have volunteers that do this tax preparation. And the ones that we usually refer people to are in Chelmsford and in Bedford, so not too far away. But don't wait, because it's popular, and the slots fill up quickly for these volunteers to meet with you. And primarily, what they'll do is if your tax return is on the simple side, it's not a lot of business. They'll help prepare the return, and they'll explain the circuit breaker and how that works. So that's in the newsletter. And the other thing in the newsletter, we've kind of been having a shift, and I talked about it a little bit on the front page. There's a company called GoGo Grandparent that we've started to engage with, and maybe we'll be offering a discount through. And that is also on, there's more information on that on GoGo Grandparent on page 3 underneath the regular COA Transportation Resources section, which also talks about our discount through the TNC firm Lyft. Lyft is like Uber, and for those who aren't aware, the Council on Aging has some money that we have available, and we can pay, if you register for it, for up to $10 on a ride from Lyft, up to 4 times a month.
So GoGo Grandparent allows people that don't have smartphones to access the Lyft and Uber type services?
That's exactly right, Jerry. Thank you for asking the question, being able to make the distinction there, is that while it's great to be able to have a discount through Lyft, which again is like Uber, and you can get on-demand transportation, kind of, like a more on-demand even than a taxi service. But what if you don't have a smartphone to be able to access the app to order the Lyft ride? And so this company, GoGo Grandparent, is filling the void in that area. You can make a call from a regular phone, flip phone, or even a landline, and you can you call their toll-free number, and they'll arrange the ride for you on your behalf or on a relative's behalf if you're ordering for somebody else in your family, either through Lyft or Uber. They use both. And also they track the rides, which is another important safety factor. So if you're ordering a ride for somebody and you want to make sure that they get there, they'll track the ride and they'll send you a text to let you know everything's okay.
That's very nice.
Yeah, and they charge a little bit more than the regular Lyft or Uber ride. It's on top of that. It's about $4 for a 15-minute ride and about $8 extra for a 30-minute ride. The average ride from Carlisle is about 30 minutes, according to state statistics. So anyway, there's plenty we could talk about, but I think let's get on with our regular program. Is there anything that you wanted to mention?
No, I think we can go right to Irina, and then we'll come back and talk about some of the luncheons.
Okay, that's great. One of the things, I wasn't sure whether I was going to mention it, but I guess I will mention it, and that some people may have heard or may know that I'll be leaving Carlisle soon, in about 3-4 weeks, and so this might be my last cable presentation with you all, although I was thinking to myself, you could always invite me back as a guest.
There you go. That's true.
So I can talk about AAA things, Area Agency on Aging, which is the position that I'll be taking on the South Shore. And I didn't want to mention this to draw attention to myself, but I did want to mention it just from the point of view that it's been a pleasure over the last 7 to 8 years doing, not only working with people here on the Council on Aging, my staff, and our board members, past and present, but also all the wonderful volunteers in our town, including Jerry, our host, that do so much to make the place what it is. So.
Well, and if I may be so bold as to presume to speak for the people of the town of Carlisle, I think you'll be very hard to replace, and we'll all miss you.
Oh, thank you, Jerry. That's very nice. My hope is that my hope and expectation actually is that whoever follows in my footsteps, we have such a great team, will take things to another level, or at least in a different direction that it does benefit the town. And I think there's a lot of talented people out there and a lot of caring people out there. So hopefully we get one of them, and things are good going forward.
Well, I guess on that bittersweet note, I'd like to introduce our special guest, Irina Stoyanovich. Lives in Carlisle and works in Acton at Great Road Acupuncture and Herbs. She's an acupuncturist, and she has an interesting arc. She got a master's degree in electrical engineering, and somehow from there made her way into acupuncture. So perhaps we could start off by having you talk a little about the path that took you from electrical engineering to acupuncture.
I guess I was always interested in good nutrition, in good diet, and when I got my kids, I especially paid attention to what they eat and about their health, and so kind of interest was always there. I didn't know about acupuncture back then. I'm not sure when I really started thinking about acupuncture. I think my first encounter with acupuncture was years ago when my husband had really bad headaches, some cluster headaches. And I noticed that next to my dentist's office, there was an acupuncturist. So I suggested to him to go and check it out. He did go, it worked, and so I was impressed with acupuncture. I enrolled in graduate program of acupuncture in 2015 when my kids left for college. So, and it was very interesting program, and I have my practice in Acton now and really love it.
So, for people like me that have never experienced acupuncture, could you talk a little about what it is?
Acupuncture is a medical technique which consists in inserting needles on the surface at the specific points on the surface of the body, and those points are called acupuncture points, and they have a specific function and specific physical characteristics. The function of these points is to regulate various bodily functions, functions of organs, but also they have local effect where they treat pain, treat reduce inflammation in the area, increase circulation in the area. And they also have specific physical characteristics. It's been shown that they have higher concentration of nerve endings, higher concentration of mast cells, of capillaries and lymphatics.
So if I were to show up for an acupuncture appointment, what would happen?
First acupuncture appointment is 90 minutes long, and just because we look at your whole health history, not only just at the condition you came to be treated for. This is a holistic medicine, so we take everything in account. So there is a health history questionnaire that a person fills out, and then we then we talk about it, about specific things, and then talk about your specific condition you came about. Based on your health history and the severity of condition, then we talk about how many treatments you will need, and what treatments will be about, and what they will involve.
So what is a typical length of time for treatments?
Treatments, the follow-up appointments are then 60 minutes, and even within the follow-up appointment, the first 10 minutes we talk about the previous treatment. What are your symptoms now? Did anything change? How do you feel? After we establish where we are, then we plan the treatment. Typically, the needles are retained for about 20 to 30 minutes. And I just want to address that maybe many people think about needles, that they are apprehensive of needles. I just want to stress that these acupuncture needles are very thin, and the diameter of a needle is about the twice of the diameter of your hairs. So they are really tiny, and they do not hurt. What people usually feel when the needle is inserted, it's some kind of, the reactions can vary, but it's either some tingling or some people feel like something is moving, like something is capturing the needle, or some people feel like a dull ache, and a lot of time it's just relaxing, just people feel relaxed.
I've got actually a question on that, and that's that you find that most people come in, or whether it's your practice or in general, for an acute issue, a back problem or what have you, or do they come in because they've had a prior experience and they just want some type of ongoing therapy, like I'm not comparing to massage, but in that sense that it is relaxing.
A lot. Actually, more people come for chronic conditions. Those are usually it could be anything, but most often it's some kind of a pain, low back pain, knee pain. I have patients with neuropathy also, but also they come for some internal medical problems like acid reflux, or for mental health problems like anxiety, depression. So it really varies. Actually, World Health Organization lists over 50 various conditions that acupuncture is beneficial for.
Wow.
So besides the needles, what other sort of techniques do you use?
Oh yeah, we can use other things like cupping or moxa.
What is?
Cupping is those are like glass, most often glass cups that we take the air out, and so it's basically vacuum inside. And when placed on the surface of the body, it lifts the muscles That way, it increases circulation into the area, reduces inflammation, and relieves the pain and the tightness of the muscle.
Okay, so there's cupping. What other sort of techniques?
Other sort of, there is moxa, which is made of a plant called Artemisia, and it will, when lit, it produces some kind of infrared heat, and that way we also can stimulate the points, acupuncture points, and again, it helps with the circulation, with the inflammation, and it's just another way of stimulating the points.
On your website, you also talk about using lasers.
Yeah,
It
people use.
seems like a curious
yeah.
combination between very modern stuff and very ancient stuff.
Exactly, yes. I personally do not use lasers yet, but yes, people use lasers too. I use needles and other moxa cupping because a lot of modern research has been done with needles. And so I know they are effective and they can produce certain effect. About lasers, it's probably can be very effective tool to also stimulate points, but I just have not used it yet.
So I understand that acupuncture is a very ancient technique. It's been around for a long time.
Yes.
How does it fit in with modern medicine?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been it's an ancient technique. It's been almost 3,000 years old. It started. They believe it started in Stone Age when people used some kind of sharp-edged objects to clean up the wounds or drain abscesses. But the very fact that it's been around for 3,000 years and people are still using it, it shows how effective it is. And there is a lot of current medical research involving acupuncture. And just recently, there was in the news that a study have been done in England by their National Health Services, where they did a three-year-long study on patients who had neuropathy induced by chemotherapy, and it showed to be very effective. Also, there are studies involving migraines, so a lot of research is going on.
So how does it work?
It is in biomedical sense. There are many I don't think there is one mechanism by how acupuncture works, but I think the strongest effect acupuncture has is on regulating our autonomic nervous system, and the autonomic nervous system actually regulates a lot of functions in our body, regulates the workings of organs, and that way acupuncture also can help with all that.
So if I came to you with lower back pain, what course of treatment would that typically involve?
Yeah, first question would be how long you have it, and of course, where do you feel it? Is the pain local? Does it radiate to lower extremities? So there are lots of questions we first have to talk about to establish, what kind of treatment we'll do and how many treatments we'll need to help with the problem.
So are there some particular kinds of complaints that people have that are particularly amenable to acupuncture, and some kinds of things where it's not appropriate at all? Since acupuncture can help with, works great with many conditions, then I would probably try to think, when does it not work? And of course, it's not a magic medicine. It cannot work for everything. And I think sometimes, like in regular medicine, if the condition has gone too far without proper treatment, then sometimes
we cannot help either. So the earlier one starts treatment, the better, and depends also on many factors like the age, the overall health condition, for how long the condition has been there, and things like that.
So if I wanted to become an acupuncturist, what can anybody do it?
Well, yes. If you have a college degree, yes, you can enroll in New England School of Acupuncture. It's a master's program. It lasts, if you go full time, it lasts 3 years. And it is, I just want to stress that besides traditional Chinese medicine, that we also study, 33% of our coursework is actually in biomedical sciences. So we study biochemistry, anatomy, physiology, pathology, and we are licensed by the Massachusetts Medical Board, the same board that licenses physicians also.
Oh, so you have to have a license in order.
I think in most states, but in Massachusetts, definitely.
So if I have health insurance, will my insurer cover acupuncture treatments?
There is a possibility because a lot of insurance companies now cover acupuncture. I have patients who have Blue Cross Blue Shield, Tufts, Harvard Pilgrim, Always, and I think actually the last thing we heard was that Medicare will cover also acupuncture.
Are there some kinds of acupuncture that health insurance will not cover?
It just, you mean specific, does it cover specific acupuncture or?
Yeah.
No, if it covers acupuncture, they don't ask you what kind of acupuncture you are doing because there is, there is one kind of acupuncture. But it depends on your specific plan whether your insurance company will cover the acupuncture.
So what kinds of complaints do people come to you with?
For example, last week I had, of course, I treated lower back pain, I treated shoulder pain, knee pain, depression, insomnia, acid reflux, so all kinds.
That's quite a broad spectrum.
Yeah, it is. As I said, World Health Organization lists over 50 conditions that acupuncture is beneficial for. So it is like a medicine, it covers a lot of
Are there
conditions.
some particular conditions that you would say are not appropriate for acupuncture?
I always check with patients when they come with any condition. I always check whether they talk to their doctor and if they have a medical diagnosis for their condition, because it is important. Sometimes people just don't want to go to see doctor, and they should. And I always refer them. If I think that it should be seen by a doctor, I will tell them go see your doctor first, and then we'll based on that we'll work with acupuncture.
Well, and I think this is really fascinating, the fact that acupuncture has been around for so long and so many people react positively to it, I think is fascinating.
Yeah, it is fascinating to me. As I was engineer before, and I strongly believe in this. I think it has a scientific basis for how it works, and it can really be a great complementary treatment along with the traditional medicine, and often it works on its own as well, too.
So could you maybe talk a little about the scientific basis? I think we have a lot of scientists here in Carlisle.
Okay. Yeah, there is a lot of research that they do with acupuncture. And they not only work with the people in those studies, but also they work on animal models. So it shows how, for example, there is a 10 years long study in UC Irvine when they did a study on how to regulate blood pressure with acupuncture. And so there are a lot of things that people are interested right now with and I think just because of the opioid crisis and that people are thinking more about using acupuncture, and I think that's why also insurance companies are more open to it.
It's fascinating.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'd just like to add that I recently have developed a lower back issue, and initially took a lot of very strong drugs. And to think of not having to use medicine,
Prescription.
pain and prescription medications, that using PT and hopefully acupuncture will be just as efficacious. But taking a strong drug, you can't drive, you can't think straight. It works with pain, but it really isn't a healthy, in my opinion, way to work every day.
Well, and if you're taking chemicals to treat some condition, those chemicals often have side effects or interactions. Is there anything like that with acupuncture?
No, actually, no, not with acupuncture. There are no side effects. You might be maybe sore a little bit right after, but no, nothing like it will affect any other organ or part of the body.
This is great.
Well, next time I get back spasms, I'll come and see you.
Okay, thank you.
I'm
It will be a
curious to
pleasure.
try it out. I'd like to experience how it works.
There was a demo last week, right?
Right, we did.
I participated.
Did you?
Yes, it was quite relaxing.
Was with a positive result?
I think that I would need, I think, a little more time to actually see that, because it seems like I had pain on one side, now it's on the other side, so it's kind of bouncing around. So,
Well, so maybe let's talk about that for a minute. So if somebody has lower back pain, what number of treatments would you think they would need in order to feel relief?
For chronic conditions, I would start with 6 treatments, and then we'll evaluate. After 6 treatments, we would evaluate the progress and then decide whether how we should continue, how many more treatments, or we can make a break. If the progress is good, we can make a break, and then after 2 weeks do more treatments. But with chronic conditions, it's always about maintenance. So first we start with intense treatment for 6 to 12 weeks, and then after that we do more like maintenance work, which is depends on the person. Maybe once in a month or every other month. Or
Fascinating. Any other questions?
No, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Irina. That was
thank
really,
you for inviting me.
So now let's go to our panel members.
Our announcements. I'm going to mention the restaurant review trips, which, as some people know, was started by Joanne Willens way back when. And these are trips to local restaurants that the COA sponsors. And it's a very casual way, but nice way, to get together with folks that you may know, or you may not know if you've never done this. I went a few times a number of years ago. The first one that we have on the schedule coming up is on Thursday, March 12th, and it's going to be a trip to the Atlantic Sea Grill Restaurant, Bar, and Fish Market, and that's in Acton. That is, we have a van that leaves a Congregational Church at 11 a.m., 11:15 a.m., I'm sorry, and it's returning about 2 to 3 p.m., so it's a good amount of time in between to have a relaxed lunch and discussion. Some people do drive themselves, but if you would like to let us know to register, we'd appreciate it. That way we can figure out the transportation and whether you're driving or not. So the COA van line, if you could call to let us know by March 5th for the March 12th restaurant review at Atlantic Sea and Grill, is the COA van line is 978-371-6690. And that would be great. The next one is at the Garrison Restaurant in April 6th. I have never heard of that. That's in Billerica, apparently. And it says the Garrison prides themselves in serving high-quality food at exceptional prices. For that trip, the van does leave at 11 a.m. And returns between 2 and 3 p.m. There's a van fee on these trips of $2. If that is going to be a problem, just let us know. Obviously, we don't want anybody to be inhibited by the price in terms of going on these things.
Where does the van leave from?
It leaves from the Congregational Church parking lot, usually in the back, I'm assuming.
Yeah, usually in the back.
Yeah. We also have a trip coming up to the Peabody Essex Museum in April, and that's a popular trip. We've done it before. It's April 22nd, which is a Wednesday. The museum entrance fee is $18 at the door, and the van fee for the trip is $10. And there's a very nice cafe in the museum. I've only been to the museum once, but I did try the cafe as well, and it's very nice.
And they've just completed an interesting new addition that's quite lovely. If people haven't been there, they should certainly go and visit.
And I was there before that renovation, and I thought it was still lovely. We have room in the van for 13. There are 13 seats, so first come, first served basis. Call the COA line before April 14th, which is the Tuesday. COA van line, again, is 978-371-6690. That trip will be leaving Congregational Church as well at 9:30 and returning between 3 and 4 in the afternoon. We do give preference to Carlisle seniors first, but if there are open spaces after April 14th, so from April 15th on, to register for the trip, we will take out-of-towners. And a lot of times the out-of-towners are people that were former Carlisle residents or are friends of Carlisle residents.
Okay, so we're going to keep talking about food because we do have a number
Some of our favorite topics.
Yes, we do have a number of food events throughout the month, and usually many of them will have programs after them, at least the lunches. We start off with Senior Moments, which is a group that meets at Ferns on March 9th, 23rd, and April 13th and 27th at 9:30. And Jean attends and represents the COA for us, and you get free baked goods courtesy either of our friends or of Bridges, which is an assisted living that pays for it once a month, and just stop in and chat and have a good conversation. And then we also have our monthly coffee, which in March is hosted by the Carlisle Public School Administration, so the superintendents and the principals and the business manager and others. And then in April, it will be hosted by some of our most noted seniors, Carolyn Showett, her daughter Nancy West, and Lillian and Angelo de Benedictus. And then the men's breakfast, which my husband does along with Chuck Bagnashi, who is joining us as one of our volunteers recording today's program, is on March 12th and April 9th, and that's at Village Court. And then our COA lunch, which we do every month except either July or August on the third Thursday. In March, we're going to have the Carlisle Middle School music teacher with some of her students who will bring us music from across the world and various instruments and dance and song. So that should be great fun. And our COA lunch for April, we're going to have Eleanor Roosevelt come visit. or at least somebody imposing the Eleanor Roosevelt. And it should be lots of fun. She's a portrayal and part presentation, focusing on Eleanor's after the death of Franklin. And then we also have our Chelmsford Crossing Lunch, which is supported by the various churches in town. The food comes from Chelmsford Crossing, and that is always a good take because their food is always wonderful. And so we're going to be doing that in March, and in March it will be at the Congregational Church. And Jay Luby is going to be doing a slideshow on his presentation, on his trip to Patagonia. In April, we have Eleanor with us. And then in May, we will also have a program about Africa by an Earthwatch volunteer. And then we're going to go to the farm in Concord, the prison, and in April. And in the beginning of May, we have our yearly student council tea, where the kids do a tea and play games and do a presentation, which is always wonderful and fun. So, David, maybe we have some exercise to go along with all this eating?
I believe that we do. And for those who participate, you already know this. For those of you who may not know, the Council on Aging, like the Recreation Department, Recreation Commission, sponsors a number of exercise programs, and sometimes we even share them, as in the case of the yoga program. The Council on Aging programs are held Monday through Friday. On Mondays, there's a tap dancing class with Katrina Rotundi as the instructor. No experience or partner required, just lots of fun and great exercise. That's at 1:30, and it's held over at FRS. We take advantage of FRS's wood floor for the tap dancing class. And that is on Mondays, starting in this session between March 2nd and going until April 27th. The classes are $40 for the whole breadth of the session, which typically can be 12 or 13 weeks, but usually we get in, even with cancellations due to weather, it could be 12,
9 to 10.
9 to 10 classes,
Yeah.
right. Also, I should mention, and Angela likes to point out, that if you're not sure that you would like to participate, but would like to just try something, that you could always come to any of our classes for free to try one out and see whether you like it before registering. So there's no harm in doing that. And then oftentimes people will join if their
Right.
schedule allows.
So I just to make sure I understand, so it's $40 for
3 months.
10 or more sessions.
Right, right.
That's
So-
a real bargain.
Yeah, I mean, we're arranging 12 or 13 sessions in the quarter, let's say, but for some reason,
Snow
or somebody
holiday or
or-
somebody gets sick.
exactly, and also we're not, if somebody has to stop midway through because they have something going on in their lives, we'll credit them for part of another session. It's not.
Because of the friends, we're allowed to be flexible.
We are flexible, and we're not running it as a business. We do have to pay the instructor. That's the only thing. But otherwise we're really not running this as a business. We're really running it so that people get as much out of it as they can. So on Tuesdays we have 2 classes: a Zumba Gold class, which is held at St. Irene's in the morning at 10:45 a.m. St. Irene's Church, and in the afternoon there's another class, a Tai Chi class. The Zumba class is taught by Katrina, who does a lot of our classes. In the afternoon class, the Tai Chi class, which starts at 12:30, is taught by Linda Sango. And Linda's been doing it for a number of years.
Yep.
That's a great class. So both of those are at St. Irene's. On Wednesdays, there's a Hatha yoga class at Benfield. And this is actually offered through the Recreation Department. And we offer a slight discount on the fee for if you're over age 60. And that class is at, what time of the day? 9:30 a.m. Thank you, Ange. And later in the day, we have we're back at St. Irene's, and there's a line dancing class at 1:45. That's one of our newer offerings. We've had it for, 2 years or so?
Oh, probably 3 or 4.
Okay. Time
flies.
Time flies, exactly. So Wednesdays, Hatha yoga at St. Irene's and line dancing in the afternoon. at St. Irene's. Line dance, the Hatha Yoga is at Benfield, and the line dance is at St. Irene's. On Thursdays, we've got 2 classes that are here at Town Hall in this very room, the Clark Room. They're exercise classes. There's a fitness class that starts at 9:45 a.m. and a cardio boost class that starts at 10:45. We've got people that sign up for one or the other, or some people, intrepid people, actually do both. And on Fridays, we have 2 classes. Used to be just the one. The one class, SAMA, is here, right in this room. SAMA is an acronym that stands for Senior Approach to Maintaining Agility. It's taught by Sensei Sarah Hanley. The fee is $100 over 10 weeks, so it's a little bit one of our slightly more expensive classes, but it's a very unique class. Angela, you take it.
Yeah,
You've been doing it for years, right?
Yep, since we got her dad.
That's right. Sensei Tony, Sarah's dad, was the originator of the class, and they're coming in from Boston, so it's a little bit more of a time commitment for the instructors, but it's worked out very well. Again, you can try any of these classes for free, so you can see whether you like them before making any type of equipment.
And if you start late, we'll prorate the class.
That's right. That's a good point. We'll prorate the class, so it's not you're not really going to lose out in almost any scenario with this. You're not really going to
So
lose out.
if I take the Sama class, will I have as much energy as Angela?
Well, that's a high bar. That is a high bar to set, but
We definitely will have better balance.
we might have to create an Angela Smith certification level, but that would just give her more work, and we don't want to give her more work. At 11 a.m. on Fridays, we have our newest offering, which is a chair volleyball. I was going to call it a session, but it's really a game. And do you want to talk about that for a second?
Well, you sit in a chair, and they use beach balls, and there's a net, like a regular volleyball net, and they're doing it at FRS, so there's plenty of room to throw the ball high, and there's 2 rows of people on each side. And I'm not sure whether they get more exercise or more laughing in as they try to, throw the ball to somebody on the other side. It's really lots and lots of fun, and the people that have done it keep coming back.
Yeah, and we want to thank. We don't often do this enough. Thank FRS, thank St. Irene's, thank Benfield, thank Village Court, thank Congregational Church even for letting us use their parking lot for their events. It's really special that there's so many church-based, faith-based, and civic places in town that, including the Gleeson Public Library, that host a lot of the co-sponsored cultural and health events that I think Jean's going to talk to momentarily.
Yep.
And that's one of the great things about Carlisle. So with that in mind, we've got some things coming up, don't we?
Yeah, I continue to be amazed at how many offerings we have for a town this size. And just when you think you've heard enough about food and exercise, the Friends are very happy to announce the 16th annual cultural series co-sponsored with the Gleeson Library. Coming back in March, 3 different Wednesdays in March, all at 1:30 at St. Irene's. Jane Blair will be back with Art Matters, and on March 11th, it's Vincent van Gogh, and March 18th, it's Symbolism and Expression, and on March 25th, it's Animal in Art.
I would just urge people to sign up for them soon, because I was a little too late and got on the waiting list for the first one.
I think we found out that the amount of people, because we're holding this at St. Irene, is much larger than we expected, so you'll probably get taken off the wait list and be on the regular list. We have over 100 people signed up for this program already, for the first class.
It's extremely popular. Jane is a real pro. Refreshments are served too, but do register by calling the library. But the Friends are also sponsoring a health series Tuesday, April 7th at 1:30 at the Gleeson Library. There'll be a talk on tips on keeping you healthy, vaccines, exercise guidelines, and more. Dr. Marguerite Roach of Lincoln Physicians Group in West Concord will discuss tips for staying healthy this year and many years to come, something I think we could all benefit from. But because this is at the library, there's a numbers limit, so
50
do
people.
do call in advance because it is again. These are wonderful series. We are so fortunate to have the quality of the speakers and the helpful tips to all of us, whether it's about memory or other issues. And also, I like the title of this next one very much. It's Thursday, April 30th, also at Gleeson Library, but at 2:30 rather than 1:30. It's Gut Feeling, and it's everything you wanted to know about your gut but were afraid to ask. And the speaker, Dr. Akakar, will be talking about acid reflux, GERD, heartburn, colon cancer screenings, and other gastro issues that affect so many of us. So all of these talks are very informative, and again, the Friends are happy to sponsor this with the Gleeson Library. And remember that your donations to the Friends help continue the quality of our talks, whether it's cultural or health. So if you haven't donated yet to Friends, it's not too late. $38 in Carlisle will get you more of the same. So.
And we thank you for all the wonderful things the Friends do. Those are fascinating programs.
Please come.
Some other things that we have going on, because we don't just feed you and make you exercise, we also, as well, trying to keep your brain going and you healthy in other ways. So we have a meditation group that meets at Benfield at 1 o'clock on every Monday, even holidays. And we have a Reiki group. We have one of the Carlisle residents who does Reiki for people once a month, and she also works at Emerson. And then we have 2 knitting groups, and we have a book group, a French conversation group. All of this is in our newsletter, or you can call the COA at 978-371-2895 to go into that. And David, I think we have some plays coming up you might want to talk about.
We do indeed. The Concord Players are having, doing a production of Steel Magnolias. And what we have in our newsletter on page 7 about this is something that we're lucky to have, and that's that they have usually a dress rehearsal a couple days or a week before they open for real. And the dress rehearsal is often very much discounted. And in this case, it's $5 at the door, 51 Walden Street in Concord. So the date for that is Thursday, April 23rd, and you don't have to register, right?
Nope, you just show up. And I'm always amazed, because I like to go to them, how few people go. It's so sad, because it's a wonderful play. The participants that put it on are very, very talented, and the sets are great, and how can you can't even go to a movie for $5.
It's true.
Right. And April 23rd, the weather started to become good, so great midweek. Like you said, it's not crowded. So anyway, something to be to do in April. Another April theater event is through the Theater 3 Company, which is in Acton, and they're having a senior dress rehearsal also of James and the Giant Peach, and that is on a Wednesday, April 29th at 7:30 at 250 Central Street in Acton, and that is also $5 at the door. So we have 2 plays within a week of each other, one in Concord and one in Acton. And then there's a third play that the COA, it's a kind of a play day trip that Lillian DeBenedictis, our theater volunteer coordinator, is arranging. And she does, 3 or 4 a year?
Yeah,
usually?
I would say about that.
Yeah, she's pretty active. And this one is at the Greater Boston Stage Company, which is the old, what what was it, the prior?
Stoneham Theater.
Thank you very much, Angela. How soon I forget. The old Stoneham Theater is now called the Greater Boston Stage Company, and they're doing a presentation of Roald Dahl's Matilda the Musical. And that starts at 2 p.m. on Wednesday, May 6th. It's leaving the COA van, if you wish to take the COA van, is leaving Congregational Church at 11:30 a.m. For a lunch at Gaetano's Restaurant, and then the show starts at 2 p.m., returning at 5 to 6 p.m. So it's kind of a longish day because you're getting the trip plus the lunch plus the show and then the return trip. But people really do like it. She usually, Lillian is a very good nose for picking good plays from everything I've heard. The ticket prices for the show itself are $37, and people register through Lillian herself. So her number, again, is Lillian De Benedictis at 978-369-1848. It's in the newsletter on the bottom right-hand side of page 7. And Lillian is asking that you register by Wednesday, April 22nd, so she can get the theater tickets.
And there's a couple more lunches we didn't talk about. CCHS puts on 2 meals, the kids do, for the seniors, one at Thanksgiving and one for St. Patrick's Day. So Saturday, March 14th at 12 noon, there's a lovely corned beef and cabbage meal, if you like that. And there's also students who usually do some traditional Irish dancing, and there's lots of fun. And so that's available, and we do have a van going for that as well as people can drive. So call us so that we can tell the students how many people are coming. And then we have Neshoba Tech Lunch. We go to the high school to their culinary arts students and take up a good portion of their cafe. And so we're doing that on March 25th and April 8th. And the meals are amazing. There's 3 choices. One's fish, one's meat, and one's vegetarian. And then we don't want to forget, as David's making sure I don't, that Bob Supnick, who's also one of our volunteers and our person who you are most likely to see if you have a computer issue and ask for help, he's doing a lecture at the Gleeson Public Library on March 10th on securing your mobile device. He did one a few weeks ago on taming Windows 10, so the differences in Windows 10 and how to get rid of the bloatware and how to make it more secure. And Minuteman Media Network were kind enough to record that for us. So I'm hoping we'll soon get a link and put that in News You Can Use, which is our bi-monthly email, which gives you some information about things that are of interest to you. And so David, maybe you want to talk about some of the programs that we have coming.
Sure. We've got, did you mention the Master's Garden class?
No, thank you.
Oh, okay. The Carlisle Master Gardeners are offering a free garden class at Carlisle Central Park on Thursday, April 23rd, between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. And it's Allison Saylor and other Master Gardeners who are doing this, and they meet, I guess, at Carlisle Central Park every 4th Thursday during the growing season from April to October to do hands-on and how-to series of classes. So I didn't know of this. This sounds like an excellent thing.
I did it last year.
Yeah, that's awesome, and an example of another great collaboration here in Carlisle. Stepping back to the exercise classes for a second, on the same page, on page 9, there's a section that shows free blood pressure clinics, and I want to mention that usually with most of our food events, there's somebody there to take blood pressure, and it's
Is that a comment on the quality of the food?
it could be, but I don't think it really is. No, it's an opportunity when you're out and about to kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone, because we have who are usually the people that are taking the blood pressure.
We have some nurse from. We have a nurse from Bridges. We have one from Emerson Home Care. We have our own Miriam, who takes it for the men's breakfast, our own community health nurse who takes it at the Chelmsford Crossing lunch.
And the community health nurse
Trish McGeehan.
is Trish McGeehan, and she's supported currently by the Community Chest. So we want to thank Community Chest, as like we thank the Friends for so much, everything that they do. Also, the COA sponsors a podiatry clinic every other month, and the next one is going to be March 2nd and 3rd. That's by appointment. The overall cost of that is $35, but because of money that we get from the Friends, it's discounted to $25. And you can call the COA at 978-371-2895 to make an appointment for the podiatrist. That's held at Penfield Farms, although it may be moving at some point, but
No, we're going to hold it at Benfield Farm. The doctor's setting up an office, so the seat you sit on will be different, that's all. She's taking the seat to her new office.
live long enough and everything changes, Jerry.
So we also want to tell seniors that we do have a number of programs that are free. One is called an Are You OK phone call. So if you live alone and somebody doesn't contact you every day, so if you had fallen, nobody might know about it for a day or two, we have an automatic phone system that you can sign up through us, and it's monitored by the police, and it will call you at whatever time you just set. So if it's 7 in the morning or 11 at night, and then if anything happens and you fall and you can't get up, at least somebody's going to find you within 24 hours. And it has saved lives by finding people that had fallen, so we do recommend for anybody who lives alone to please consider signing up for this. And we have File a Life, which is a document you put on your fridge, so in case you ever need a first responder, they know who you are, they know what medications you take, who your doctors are, and who to contact in case of an emergency. And we also want to let people know we have medical equipment to loan out and wonderful volunteers who will either meet you at Highland, which is where it currently is stored, or deliver it for you. So I think we're getting to the end of our
think so.
time, Jerry.
I think so too. I'd like to thank, is that an editorial comment? I'd like to thank the panel and especially our special guest, Irina Stoyanovich, for a very interesting program and learned a lot about acupuncture. So thank you all, and be sure to be with us next month for another Carlisle Community Forum program.
We're going to have Judge Barrett back,
Yep.
so we'll learn more about the legal system from an actual judge,
From an arm's length perspective.
hopefully.
Thank you all.
Thank you,
Thank
Jerry.
you,
Good job.
Jerry.
Jerry.